Okay, good to see everybody. Beautiful day for football. We got our fans out here today, which is great. I know our players are excited to feel that energy from this awesome group of fans. So excited for that, and with that, I will take any questions.
Kevin, you got anything exciting planned for the fans today?
A good football practice. How about that? We're still in the early stages of our work. We got a lot of work to do. As you guys know, we don't have the pads on just yet, but they'll see some competitive periods. And again, anytime you have the fans out here, it happens every year. The first time the group's out there, you're going to see the intensity of practice rise up. You're going to see guys' energy levels rise up. It just gets competitive, and that's the beauty of our sport. It's a competitive sport.
Kevin, we talked to David Njoku earlier today and talked about his growth and what might be new in his game, and he said, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm just going to go out and show you. Just from your perspective, what have you seen as far as growth from him and his game?
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this when we signed David. His game has evolved, and I'm really proud of him in the work that he's put in watching his blocking develop over the course of time that I've been here. He's really bought in. He's obviously big enough and strong enough to do a lot of those jobs. So that's what I'm probably most proud of him for, but also recognizing that there's a ton of room to grow, and I think that's the beauty of David and a lot of our players here is they have that growth mindset where they want to continually get better.
Is Amari particularly vocal in saying what sort of routes he likes to run or what sort of receiver he wants to be?
I think he's not going to come out and say it unless you ask him, Aditi, but when you do, you're talking to a very, very smart football player. So he's seen all the coverages. He's gone against every DB. I think he knows his game, what he's good at. So we've had those conversations and great dialogue about routes that he's really consistently won on in his career, because ultimately as we put this together, we're trying to match up what our guys do best. So anytime you can have that conversation with a player, I think it's important.
What makes him such a good route runner? He said he specifically brought up double moves.
Yeah, I think the first thing you notice with Amari is just his size. I think his forward lean at that size really gets the defensive back's attention. And then with double moves, with a single move, a double move, you really have to be definitive in what you do on that first move. And then I think he has a savviness to realize how much to spend on that first move before you get into that second move. You'll see a lot of young players run a double move and they'll rush it. They'll be very greedy with their first movement and they don't sell it. I think with Amari, with the amount of reps he's had over his career, he has that savviness, that wherewithal to sell the first route first.
If you reduce the use of three tight ends, shouldn't it put a premium on the number one tight end and result in more targets still?
Yeah, I think potentially, sure. When we've talked about that with our tight end room. We still have to see how that tight end room emerges this season. But with David, I think there will be a more share of opportunities.
Kevin, we talked to Chris Kiffin too, and he expressed how grateful he is that you took him back. So what was that 3 weeks like? Did you look for another defensive line coach, or how did it all play out?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago, Jeff. We're very excited that Kiff is back. That was a unique opportunity that came up with his brother down there, but very excited that Kiff's back.
With back to David for a second. The elite tight ends, put up those really, really big numbers, and he hasn't gotten the opportunities early in his career to do that. And with the commitment the team made, do you, as a coach and organizationally, view his potential as being one of those top tight ends in the league that can make those big plays and your go-to guy in the red zone and things like that?
Yeah, obviously we think highly of David and think that he's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's a young player. I know it's been mentioned many times that he's still a very young player. So in terms of where that fits in the league and those type of things, I think for us, we're just trying to make sure that we put our guys in position to succeed. Like we talked about, there may be more opportunities for David this year, but we're excited about where he is. We're excited about where Harrison is, and really can go across the roster and look at a bunch of guys that will help us come Sundays.
The mindset for Njoku should quite a lot. Like this can be really, really lethal combination.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Kevin, are there early returns on the occasional wrap-ups or ramp-up for you, or does it see it until we get the long-term?
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do, Omar, is being very intentional about how we plan practice. And you have X number of days to get them ready. We have X number of days before that Jacksonville game. We have X number of days before the Carolina game, and then you have 17 of those games. So just trying to use all the information at our disposal and get this team ready to play and be smart about it and make sure that every step along the way we have that discussion about, are we doing this the safest way? So that's what we're doing right now. There'll be plenty of dog days of training camp, and it's going to be really hard, and the players aren't going to like me very much. But I just feel like now's the time to ramp into this thing appropriately.
Kevin, first year last year under the 17 team season, were you able to take away from that you've been able to use, as you prepare?
Yeah, it's something we talked about last season, Chris, was adding that game. There was a cost to that game. There was a physical cost to that game. So how were we going to address that cost? And we tried to do that throughout the season and how we prepared. You can't wait until the 17th game to say, all right, now we're going to take care of the team. You had to be proactive about that looking forward. So that's important that our guys realize that there's a lot of work to be done. They will have their days off starting tomorrow. And when you have those days off and when you're in this building, how do you recover? And fortunately, we have a lot of modalities in there that can help with that recovery. But in the first, you got to have something to recover from. So that's what we're trying to do here with the work that we're putting in.
When you talk about the physical cost of adding that additional game, so they add an additional game. This is the second year with that additional game, one less preseason game, but they didn't shrink down the camp preseason portion. I understand as a coach, you want you guys on the field as much as humanly possible, but do you think it's necessary to have a 6-7 week ramp up to a season?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been interesting, going back to 2020, that was an unprecedented situation, but not having the preseason games and having what felt like an ample amount of time. You weren't traveling to cities to go play a game. With 3 games, you structure it a little bit differently, if you will. But I think all 32 teams have to make decisions based on what they feel is right for their team. I know there's 32 ways to do it, and I've studied it and looked at other ways to do it, and we just feel like this is our best way to do it.
Any update on David Bell? As close as he can get out?
Yeah, no update, Tony. He's doing well. He's progressing well. Should see him soon.